The Social Democrats narrowly beat out the far-right AfD in regional elections in Brandenburg. French locals are frustrated over the appointment of a centre-right government despite the success of the left in recent elections. A blueprint to tackle issues like climate change and security was approved by the United Nations General Assembly. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz's Social Democrat Party narrowly won an election in the eastern German state of Brandenburg. 3 weeks after the far-right Alternative for Germany made gains in two other East German states, the SPD came out on top. Results published by the State Electoral Administration say the SPD won 30.9%, while the AfD came second with 29.2%.
It is an important victory for me, it's an important victory for my party, and it's an important victory for the state of Brandenburg, because it's one of the biggest goal for us in the beginning of our campaign was to provide stability.
The SPD's victory brought a reprieve to Scholz, whose three-party governing coalition has fared poorly in elections so far this year. Scholz has expressed his desire to be his party's candidate for Chancellor in next year's federal election, with this weekend's vote also being watched for what it might signal about his political future. At a farmers' market in southern France, locals expressed their frustrations over the recent appointment of the new French government. A left-wing coalition won the most seats in June-July elections, but the government announced over the weekend is dominated by centrists and conservatives.
Je pense qu'on parle les mêmes et qu'on recommence. La gauche est quand même arrivée en tête aux élections qui se sont présentées. Il n'y a personne qui les représente. C'est pas tellement logique.
C'est un film historique. Pourquoi? Parce que Macron, il fait ce qu'il veut.
Others are cautious, saying that it is too early to pass judgment on the work of the new government.
Du moment qu'ils arrivent tous à s'entendre pour faire avancer la France dans le bon sens, eh ben c'est formidable.
France's new government was announced 2 months after elections that produced a hung parliament and deepened political divisions as the country grapples with financial and diplomatic challenges.
An explosion in a coal mine in eastern Iran killed at least 52 workers and injured 17 others, local sources said on Sunday. The disaster marks one of the worst mining incidents in the country's history, as others remained missing hours after the blast. Weeping miners stood alongside mine cars that brought up the bodies of their colleagues, all covered in coal dust. The Iranian Red Crescent Society is working on rescuing those still trapped below the surface. Authorities blamed the blast on a leak of methane gas. Such gases are common in mining, though modern safety measures call for ventilation and other measures to protect workers. It wasn't immediately clear what safety measures were in place at the mine in Tabas.
The United Nations General Assembly approved a blueprint to bring the world's increasingly divided nations together to tackle 21st century challenges. Those issues range from climate change and artificial intelligence to escalating conflict and increasing inequality and poverty. The so-called Pact for the Future challenges the leaders of the 193 member nations of the UN to turn promises into real actions that make a difference in the world. Its goal is to encourage international peace and security, foster inclusive societies, and ensure technology is for the common good of mankind. The pact was adopted at the opening of the 2-day Summit for the Future called by UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. International delegations in attendance at the summit included German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and 2014 Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala.
Work is in full swing in Greece's capital region Attica to make it flood-proof for the winter. Local crews are cleaning streams that could threaten many areas. For the governor of Attica, Nikos Hardalias, here on a visit to get an impression of the progress being made, this is essential work. However, it is beset with problems.
Δίνουμε τη μάχη του αυτονόητου. Δηλαδή, αναδεικνύουμε ζητήματα τα οποία θα πρέπει να έχουν λυθεί. Θα πρέπει να υπάρχουν τακτικές εργολαβίες καθαρισμών. Προσπαθούμε όλο αυτό να το εξορθολογήσουμε, να μπει μια τάξη. Το μεγάλο μας πρόβλημα είναι το πρόβλημα των αλληλοκαλύψεων. Δηλαδή, υπάρχουν ρέματα που καθαρίζουμε εμείς, ρέματα που καθαρίζει το Υπουργείο, ρέματα που καθαρίζουν οι Δήμοι. Αντιλαμβάνεστε ότι όλο αυτό δημιουργεί πάρα πολλά προβλήματα και πάρα πολλές παθογένειες.
Σύμφωνα με την περιφέρεια της Αττικής, μέχρι στιγμής έχει ολοκληρωθεί ο καθαρισμός 19 ρεμάτων σε περισσότερα από 10 χιλιόμετρα, ενώ μέχρι τέλος Οκτωβρίου εκτιμάται ότι θα έχει ολοκληρωθεί ο καθαρισμός ακόμα 19 ρεμάτων και έτσι συνολικά θα έχουν καθαριστεί περισσότερα από 30 χιλιόμετρα.
Delays of important projects in local government due to bureaucracy or lack of resources are common. But Nikos Hardalias has submitted a detailed proposal which can be implemented step by step.
Μερικώς προχωράει το κομμάτι της πρότασης που αφορά στον τρόπο που πρέπει να διοδοτούμε τα έργα αυτά, ώστε να μην χάνουμε πάρα πολύτιμο χρόνο. Έχουν γίνει κάποια βήματα σημαντικά, όμως χρειάζεται μια συνολική αναθεώρηση των εργαλείων των νομικών που μας δίνονται και κυρίως των χρηματοδοτικών εργαλείων. Διότι έργα χωρίς χρήματα δεν υπάρχουν. Εύκολα οι κυβερνήσεις μας στέλνουν τις αρμοδιότητες, αλλά πρέπει να συμπληρώνουν και με τους απαραίτητους πόρους. Χωρίς χρήματα δεν μπορούμε να εκτελέσουμε έργα.
The region had previously suffered severe damage from massive wildfires, which reached the northern suburbs of Athens earlier this month.
A biodiversity initiative launched by nature and environmental protection groups in Switzerland did not succeed in a referendum held on Sunday. Over 60% of voters rejected the idea, which aimed to increase green spaces untouched by human development. Switzerland is renowned for its pristine lakes and majestic alpine peaks, but its plant and animal life is under great threat. The initiative called for public funding to encourage farmers to set aside lands and waterways to help wild landscape develop. It also would have prohibited the construction of new railway lines through protected dry meadows. Proponents pointed to threats to Switzerland's bees, frogs, birds, and other wildlife, as well as dwindling natural resources. The federal government and many rural voters opposed the plan, arguing it was too expensive. 630 million euros is already spent on biodiversity protection each year. Another proposal on pension reforms was also rejected in Sunday's referendums. The plan would have required employers and workers to raise their contributions into compulsory occupational funds, an idea widely opposed by unions. Referendums take place 4 times a year in Switzerland, far more often than any other European country.
Prisoners in Finland have been participating in AI annotation training as part of a rehabilitation program. The aim is to reduce repeat offending by equipping inmates with modern skills.
So this current AI data labeling project started in 2022. So it's been running for about 2 years. And it's currently done in 3 prisons. And one of them is a women's prison, and then there are 2 men's prisons. And this is done in collaboration with a software company.
Human input, such as data labeling, helps AI system development. And with the Finnish language only spoken by 5 million people, hiring native speakers can be costly in a high-wage economy like Finland.
As our software tries to interpret text material and different details about construction projects. So then we need to teach the language models to understand Finnish language and to understand construction context.
But experts stress such programs are limited in scope and should focus on rehabilitation.
It's good to give the prisoners something to do, to have structure in the day, to help them for the adjust to the eventual release back to the civilian life, so that you would have slightly more likelihood of not committing more crimes when you are released in the civilian life. And data work in general is seen as really helpful in this.
The Finnish authorities say other Nordic and European countries have also now sought consultation on digital rehabilitation projects in prisons.
Vibrant leopards leap out of frames and large taxidermied lionesses pounce onto zebras. A menagerie of still-life animals and self-portraits are on show at a new exhibition of Antonio Ligabue's beguiling works in Bologna. 100 pieces by the visionary artist are on display, including some never before seen by the public.
Sono dei veri e propri ruggiti di colore, è la sua anima che si esprime attraverso questa grandissima capacità che ha di strutturare un'immagine attraverso l'uso del colore, e lo fa con violenza, con ardore, con passione, mettendoci dentro tutta la sua anima.
Ligabue's life was anything but a blank canvas, as the isolated artist only enjoyed relative success at the end of his career. But his vivid vision of the human kingdom and himself continues to capture European hearts.